This video is about the underlying belief of people who believe in identity politics. Those are the ones who are obsessed with the gays this, the women that, the blacks this, Latinos that, trans people, and they want to define their whole theory of politics and economics and sociology around these various identities. This is about the underlying beliefs. These are not things that people who embrace identity politics are necessarily aware that they believe in these things. In fact, they really aren't aware of it. You know, they have a philosophy, they have certain things that they're going to protest about, but they're not aware of the underlying train of thought. And this is inspired by the various Trump protests going on right now. Now, of course, I'm not a fan of Trump, the stupid, ignoramus person just going to address the interest of the ruling class. But when you see protests where people go out into, as I read in Columbus Circle, and they just yell about pussy grabs back, and they want to call him a racist, a sexist, anti-gay, and whatever, that's not an economic agenda. It's stupid. I think these Trump protests are fucking stupid because you're not protesting anything tangible. You're just protesting you're racist. That's not anything. If someone's a racist and you want to protest them, you need to protest specific racist policies. You can't just run out and say you're racist. That doesn't mean anything. Well, anyway, let's just jump into the tenets of identity politics, and I have 9 of them. And the first tenet is that the economic political system that we have in place works for all white men. It generally works for all white people. Therefore, identity politics seeks only to allow the system we have in place to work for people of all other identities. Identity politics does not question the validity of capitalism, the validity of the American or United States system of government, or anything associated with these things. That's irrelevant to identity politics. The second tenet, identity politics does not care about the reasons for poverty, crime, or other ills of society, beyond discrimination. As far as identity politics can tell, the only reason why we have poverty, crime, and other problems is because of discrimination. Clearly, white people, and especially white men, do not have to deal with poverty at all. It doesn't exist for them, unemployment, any of those things, unless they're gay or something like that. So you might have some white women suffer a little bit, but no white men unless they're gay. So therefore, we just have to stop discrimination. It should be further noted that basically, if you're the third tenet is that if you're a white man and you're not gay and you're not trans or anything, you're some white dude, you don't have any problems. That's the third tenet here. By the way, identity politics, after telling all white men that they benefit from white supremacy, have no actual problems. If that white man wants to kind of reply that there are problems that affect white men, that just means they're a white supremacist. Okay, the fourth tenet is that the human species is divided into various identities, each with their own unique set of qualities and circumstances. Therefore, the needs of these identities can only be understood on their own terms. Women, gays, trans peoples, blacks, Muslims, Latinos, or any other identity that idpol or identity politics cares about demands a separate agenda for each one of those identities. In other words, the problems that women face cannot be fixed by addressing the problems that black people face. Each identity has its own problems, is subject to its own form of discrimination, therefore needs its own politics. So unlike something, say, like, for example, a socialist train of thought would say that the issue is oppression of the working class, exploitation of the working class, and if you stop that exploitation, then you help all these people. Someone who is interested in a resource-based economy would look at how competition for resources, artificial scarcity, causes problems, and therefore you want to fix that instead of addressing all these separate identities and separate issues. As far as identity politics is concerned, that's all nonsense. Different identities, different politics, different problems. You can't mix women's problems and black people problems with gay problems. They're all different. If anyone disagrees with idpol, they are a bigot. So if you think that these tenets of identity politics are wrong or stupid for some reason, then you are a bigot. That is it. There can be no discussion about the legitimacy of these other points of identity politics. The sixth tenet that I have is politicians should be judged by the color of their skin and their genitalia. You should not judge a politician by what they actually do. Therefore, when Bush goes to war over bullshit reasons like weapons of mass destruction and then tortures people, that's wrong because he's a white man. When Obama leads the United States to war against Libya and destroys that country for no reason, that's good because Obama is a black person. When Obama has Chelsea Manning tortured, that's good, that's fine because Obama is a black person. Now, if you think that our politicians should be judged by their actions and not their skin color and genitalia, then you're a bigot. Because that's the sixth, that's the fifth tenet that I had. The seventh tenet of identity politics is against integration. Your skin color, gender, and other accidents of birth define who you are. You cannot escape. Individuality is, you can't detain individuality. Like if you're a black woman, you're a black woman. You can't be like you're into this or that or be your own person. You have to like find out what black women are doing or like, and that's who you are. And if whatever you're a gay man, then find out what being a gay man is about. But there is no individuality, and you really shouldn't be interested in integrating with other people. So if you're a black woman and then there's a gay white man, you have to like go your separate ways. The only time you should really come together for things apparently is to fight for causes of identity politics. But understand that you two people live in totally separate worlds from each other. So let's not really try to integrate. However, it's sort of okay for people of other identities to integrate, but apparently there's something where the white men, they're the evil ones. Let's try to keep them away. Identity politics, the eighth tenet, is totally against any theory that questions identity politics. Therefore, it's against things like socialism, anarchism, resource-based economy theory, or anything that challenges capitalism or especially class structure as relevant to society. Anyone who claims that the problem is class and not identity is basically a bigot and probably a white supremacist as well. And they just want to uphold their white supremacist status. And that's why they come up with this whole class theory. Marx from the 1800s who wrote Capital, he was probably a white supremacist who wrote Capital to uphold as an excuse for his white supremacy, and therefore he didn't have to address the problems of poor black people in England or something. That's probably more rational than actually looking at the class theory. This is, of course, following the train of thought of identity politics. As far as identity politics is concerned, the history of history is not class struggle. Class struggle is just a pitiful excuse by white people, again, to defend white supremacy and to try to create a distractor. As far as identity politics is concerned, the history of history is the history of clashes between different identities. But none of those identities should be defined by class or economic status. The goal of identity politics, therefore, is to force equality among all these identities while upholding at the same time that all these identities are somehow inherently different and unique from each other with their own different qualities. Of course, these different identities are, for the most part, vague, culturally prescribed, environmentally reinforced, and in no way are people born with these identities. Yet identity politics will insist that even if these are things that makes no sense for someone to even be born with, then we should just insist that they are born with it. Under identity politics, for example, we could have stereotypes of what black culture is. And if this is negative, then you're racist for believing it. But if it's something positive, then just tell black people that this is inherently who they are. And it's the same thing for other identities. If there's some type of Irish stereotype and it's negative, then you tell people they're a bigot. If it's positive, then you tell people that's what the Irish people are like, and you're born this way, and you just try to divide people up into these stupid categories. That's the eighth tenet I have of identity politics. The ninth tenet we have is about equal representation. Since identity politics believes that the system we have in place, this 21st century capitalism that believes that we can use infinite resources on a finite planet and gives people lots of bullshit jobs because of technological unemployment that doesn't want to realize even exists, this stupid system, there's really nothing wrong with it. It's just discrimination. So the goal is not to get rid of homelessness, because that's fine. We just want equal representation of all the identities who are homeless. So we probably have too many black people who are homeless and too little white people that are homeless. So either we have less homeless black people or more homeless white people. Either way, we just need to have a proportionately equal to population. The homelessness, again, is not a problem. The economic factors causing homelessness are not a problem. We just need proportionally equal homelessness. Prisons, not a problem, but the main problem with prisons is that there are too many black people and not enough white people. So either we get black people out of the prisons or we have more white people in the prisons. It really doesn't make a difference as long as they're proportionately equal. And also, people shouldn't be locked up for discrimination reasons. But we need to enforce equal representation somehow in these socially prescribed punishment systems. Identity politics does not want to question whether or not we should have prisons or punish people, because that's irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant is that we have, again, proportionally equal representation of all these various identities. Identity politics does not want to eliminate poverty. It does not seek to identify a system that demands people sell their labor for wages, even if with machines we can get rid of most of the labor. And most of the labor people doing anyway now is bullshit. Identity politics doesn't care about that. Identity politics just wants to level the playing field because it apparently believes in competition, it believes that humanity should be in competition with itself, and get rid of white supremacy. Because the real problem in society is white men, white male supremacy, and how they are taking away resources from all the other identities. Please be aware that even though it's real fucking stupid to put all white men in one group, identity politics has no problem doing it because we have white male supremacy. So all white men are one group, black people are a group. We have all these different groups. It doesn't matter how stupid it is, and that's it. Maybe I should add a 10th one, which is that identity politics will reinforce that there are inherent differences in all these different groups and supposed races, and at the same time, identity politics is not racist, is not sexist, or anything like that. Identity politics is not apparently claiming to make judgments about people based upon their race or gender or supposed nationality, while at the same time it insists that these are all different distinct groups and you can look at someone and make judgments about them based upon these superficial qualities. Okay, so I think identity politics is other bullshit, of course, and I think these people who are protesting Trump are full of absolute shit. And it's not because I like Trump, he's an idiot and he's just going to fuck over this country and make people a lot worse. But if I'm going to run out and protest someone like Trump, I'm going to protest him for real reasons, not bullshit reasons. And I'm not going to sit back and be like, Obama's great, and then when Trump does the same thing, protest Trump and not Obama. That's racist. So all these identity politics people out in the street, you're a bunch of racists because you don't care when Obama does it, and apparently you just care when Trump vaguely threatens to do something. So again, when Obama goes to war, tortures people, sells out to the pharmaceutical industry or Monsanto or anything like that, it's all great because he's a black guy. Okay, and that's not racist. Judging Obama because he's black and saying he's good because he's black is not racist. That is the theory of identity politics. Okay, maybe this should be my last identity politics video because what else am I going to say about identity politics? Identity politics is ultimately the cancer on the left. It has what destroyed the left. Because now you can be a liberal and you don't need to have a theory of economics at all. In fact, being a liberal means you're against having a theory of economics to begin with. You know, class warfare, fuck it. Okay, that's it. Bye.